Hey, future structural engineers, feeling a bit lost in the maze of starting your career? You are not alone. We all know the beginning can be a bit overwhelming, especially when you are faced with those complicated architectural drawings. But fear not. Today on Civil Nirman, we are tackling the common problems beginners face in the world of structural engineering when they begin their career, because they don't aware how to deal with the client, how to deal with the architectural inputs. Starting out in structural engineering can be feel like trying to solve a complex puzzle with missing pieces. One of the biggest challenges is figuring out how to correctly visualize the proposed structural arrangement with respect to architectural drawing. What points he needs to consider in the architectural drawing. You might be asking, where do even I begin? How do I make sense of all these plans and elevations? Well, that's exactly we're gonna demonstrate over here. You are handed these architectural drawings and suddenly you are expected to bring these structures to reality. Now, it's okay if you are scratching your head. We are all there once we are beginners. So, in this session, we are discussing once you receive the architectural input, what points you need to take care before executing any project. If you have any correction, what points you need to keep in mind. So, stay tuned till the end.
So once you receive the architectural input, following are the points you need to take care. See, as the building is to be constructed as per the drawings prepared by the architect, it is necessary for the engineer to correctly visualize the structural arrangement as proposed by the architect. An engineer, after studying the architectural plans, can suggest necessary changes like addition or removal of any columns and beams and orientation of the columns or beams as required from the structural point of view. Now for this, the first important point is that engineers should have a complete set of prints of original approved architectural drawings of the buildings, which includes plan at all floor levels, elevations front, back and all sides, silent cross sections where change in elevation occurs, and any other sections that will aid to visualize the structure more easily. The cross section should show the internal details like location of windows, doors, toilet staircase, lift machine room, staircase rooms and any other special features. Let's say for example, if in case of the industrial building, gutter at roof level, or let's say in case of the cooling tower requirement in a particular industrial building. Projection proposed, next important point, projection proposed to give spatial elevation treatment, etc. Also always work with the drawings of the same scale. Now once you receive the drawings, now during the study of the drawings, following points you should keep in mind. Now drawings should be examined to find out the first point, whether the plan shows all the required dimensions and levels so that the engineer can arrive at the lengths and sizes of the different members. Wherever necessary, obligatory member size as required by the architects are given or not. Second point, whether the plans and schedules of doors and window etc. are supplied so as to enable engineer to decide the beam sizes at this particular location. Next important point, whether the thickness of the various walls and their height, means in case of the partition wall, it is provided or not. Next important point, whether the functional requirements and utility of various spaces are specified in the plans. Now see, this detail will help in deciding the imposed load on these particular spaces. Now just for your understanding, let me tell you, or let me take you an example of, let's say, college building. So in college building we have so many categories of the rooms, right? We have classrooms, we have laboratories, libraries. Now based on the functional requirement and their occupancy at that location, imposed load will vary. So that's the main important point. Next important point is materials. Let's say if what category of the bricks they are utilizing, whether they are nominal bricks or lightweight bricks, because they will impact our loading consideration in our analysis, right? Also note the false ceiling, lighting arrangement, lifts along with their individual carrying capacity. It can be either passenger lifts or in case of the industrial building it can be a goods lift, right? Air conditioner ducting, acoustical treatments, RCC cladding, finishing items, fixtures or services opening proposed by the architect. Also Note the position of expansion joints in case of, let's say, industrial warehouse or the industrial pre-engineering building structures. Future expansion requirement, it can be horizontal, right, or vertical. Let's say in case of the residential building, or in case of the residential bungalow or commercial building, is there any future requirement of the floors? Because this data we will require in order to consider the future expansion loads in our drawings, which will impact our foundation and column design. Correct? In case of the warehouse, let's say in case of the warehouse, if the length is too large, whether the expansion joint details are provided or not. Also, check up with the present scope of work indicated in the field data submitted by the field engineers. The design of the present phase will account for future expansion provisions such as loads to be considered for column and footing design, as I mentioned, right, and expansion joint requirement if any in case of the industrial structure. Now, whether the equipment layout has been given or not, or their arrangement, how they gonna fit on our slabs or steel structural framing, particularly in the areas where heavy machinery is proposed to be located. Also, special features like sun breakers, fins, built-in cupboards with their sections so as to enable the engineer to take their proper cognizance. Also, whether the locations of the overhead water tanks specified by the architect and whether the field data submitted by the field engineer furnishes the required capacity of each overhead tank. Okay, so similarly this will implement for, let's say, the requirement of the cooling tower in your industrial building. That is one of the point you can consider. What type of waterproofing treatment is proposed? Now, in case of the industrial building, whether the requirement of crane is there or not, right? In some cases there might be a situation, let's say we have 10 base building and the crane requirement is only in the first 4 bays. So all these points you should check. Access door and rolling shutter requirements based on the movement of the, let's say, crane or forklift, right? And what is the end user's intent for the structure. So all these points you should keep in mind. See, next important point is stormwater and sewer lines along with variety of the other services such as electrical conduits, lift pits and even air conditioning ducts will need to coordinate with our foundations. So the optimum structural solution may need to be modified to suit these competing constraints. Now see, any discrepancy from the above scrutiny should be brought to the notice of the architect in an RFI. So what is the RFI? RFI is known as request for the information. This matter should be sorted out before proceeding with any design. So try to get as many RFIs as possible in your first RFI. This will reduce your washing machine effect. Now what is that? Just joking. It's better to clarify the things upfront than face issues later in the design process. It's like doing laundry, better to separate the colors early on. Means it's better to clarify things upfront than face issues later in the design process or in the design stage. Remember, each drawing is a piece of the puzzle and your job is to put it all together. Stay curious, keep questioning and embrace the challenges. If you enjoy today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more structural engineering insights. Until next time, happy designing. Also, if you are not aware with the structural drawings, we have made a special video on the structural drawings and points that you need to keep in mind before going for the stat modeling. So these 2 videos you can refer after this. Stay tuned, keep learning. Remember, don't just learn software, learn concepts. Thank you.